Welcome to the Emmaus podcast, when you can find out what's happening in our school community.
Hi everyone, I'm Polly.
And I'm Lily, and we'll be your hosts for today's podcast.
Welcome to the first episode of the Emmaus podcast. Now, this episode is pretty special because 1, it's our first episode, and 2, our amazing principal, Eileen, is finishing up and going back into retirement.
This episode is a special tribute to Eileen.
We've had a busy term 3 with Eileen as our principal. Some of the highlights include Nyreka doing the inter-school sports with all the other schools in Ballarat, and Mockbareen doing swimming lessons every Monday. The junior grades have had some fun going on excursions at Sovereign Hill and going to tennis and 10-pin bowling. We've also welcomed our new principal, Ethan, this week. We're set for many more adventures in term 4.
Did you know? Hi, I'm Annabelle.
And I'm Lexi.
And here are 2 fun facts for this week's podcast.
Slugs have 4 noses.
And dragonflies can see in all directions at the same time.
Thank you for joining us today, Eileen. We'll be asking you a few questions.
Thanks, Tess.
Why did you say yes to going to this?
Matilda, I've always loved being in schools, and last year I retired, and I thought I was really ready just to, do things for myself. And I got a phone call saying, Eileen, we think that you'd be really good to go to Emmaus. Would you like to do that? And you know what? I didn't even think twice. I just said, I'd love to do that. I've known about Emmaus since 2007, when it was all being dreamed up, and I've always been interested in it. So the opportunity to be here for a little time was very exciting for me.
What have you enjoyed about being here?
The thing about working in schools, and particularly in the role of principal, is that it's different every moment of every day. So what I've loved the challenges. There's been sort of challenges around getting to know lots of new people and way things are done differently. So I love a bit of a challenge. I love to find out about learning and teaching. I think I've loved being able to help people out sometimes when they've needed a little bit of that. But generally I've loved being around kids and being around teachers and people who think that learning and teaching is really important. So that's been great.
How do you think Emmaus is different from the other schools that you've worked at?
Matilda, how's it different? Well, there's lots of things that are the same, because I think that kids everywhere are kids, and it's great to be around kids. So there's lots that is the same, and in every school there are different learners and different teachers. But what's unique, I think, about Emmaus is the setting. I've never worked in a school that's been in such a sort of country almost setting. The last school I worked at was right in the middle of the city, and with a big dual lane freeway going up past the front door. So we're really lucky here to have the space around us. It's a bit of that's different. Focus on learning through technology is a little bit different. It's been part of what I've seen in other schools, but the way it's done at Emmaus is a little bit different, and that's really exciting, I think. But generally, people are people and kids are kids, and in every school you get diverse learners, and the way that's approached at Emmaus is probably exemplary. It's not so much different, but it's pretty top of the range, the way at Emmaus people look at the diverse ways that people learn and try to learn with them and teach them in their diverse learning styles.
How many schools have you worked at? And what are the schools' names?
Oh, Tessa, that's a lot. I have worked at a lot of schools. When I first started working, I taught in a little country school called St Joseph's Coleraine. And then I came to Ballarat and I taught at St Joseph's Lion Street, which doesn't even exist anymore. That was a little Catholic school in Lion Street, a Loretto school. And then I went to St Aloysius, and then I went to St James, and then I went to Melbourne to a school, Sacred Heart in Diamond Creek, and that's when I started being a leader in RE. And then I went to Adelaide, to a large school in Adelaide called St Augustine's in Salisbury, and I was a full-time leader there. And then my dad was dying here in Ballarat, and it was very difficult for me, and so we came back to Ballarat. And I taught at Lumen Christi and was a leader there, a deputy, and then I went to St Alepius, and I was a deputy and the REL in a leadership team with Brendan Marr, who was the first principal at Emmaus. So he and I worked very closely together.
What will you do when you retire?
My first priority is really to spend lots of time with my family and my two beautiful granddaughters. I have a granddaughter, Ashlyn, who is 7, turning 8 in November, and a beautiful little granddaughter, another one, called Bridget, who's 4, and spending time with them is a great joy to me. And spending time with my husband and my 2 boys and my brothers and sisters. I have lots of brothers and sisters, so spending time with them is a priority. My husband isn't retired yet, so as soon as he retires, we're going to do a lot of tripping around. And in the meantime, I'll do a bit, and he'll take a bit of leave. But immediately when I retire, I'm going to go down to the Bellarine Peninsula for a week, and then I'm flying to Alice Springs, where my son and my husband are both working at the moment. So I'm going to spend some time up there in the sunshine.
Lucky. Do you have any advice for Ethan?
Well, I don't know that Ethan needs a lot of advice from an old retiring principal, but probably my only advice would be to have fun. Enjoy every moment, because being a principal is the best job in the world. It is a job where you get to spend lots of time with beautiful kids and families and staff. You get to be part of their lives in a way that is an absolute privilege. And sometimes you're part of their lives in sad times, and sometimes in happy times, and sometimes in tough times. But the privilege of them wanting you as part of their life is an absolute blessing. So I just say to Ethan, enjoy it, love it, come each day knowing that it's going to be different, and you will gain so much from it. It's the best job in the world.
Thanks so much, Eileen, for letting us interview you today, and good luck for when you leave.
Thank you. It's been an absolute privilege.
What type of tea is hard to swallow? Reality.
Thanks for listening to our first Emmaus podcast. We have a box in the office if you want to suggest a name for our podcast, or you can send an email to the address in the notes. Enjoy the rest of your week. See you next time.